Were you able to obtain statements from the implicated officers, EMPD officers?
Yes.
I have in annexure TLM 1 from page 9. Statements obtained during the interview of the what are called suspects.
Yes.
And the first one starts at page 13. And that would appear to be a statement, according to page 13, line 1, of Keisha Lee Stolls, a white female employed by EMPD as a constable. And the second paragraph then states, on 8th February 2023, at that time, at 2300 hours, she was contacted by a confidential informant regarding a suspected stolen load in Patfontein on a plot. Then she sets out her version of what transpired.
Yes.
The next statement is at page 24. And that now is the statement of Adrian Norman Mackenzie. And he states, I, Adrian Norman Mackenzie, employed by Ekurhuleni as a Metro Police officer, gave statement. At paragraph 2, he then states, on 8th February 2023, at about 23 hours, I was contacted by Kay Stolls, who informed me that she had received information about a suspected stolen load that was in Patfontein, and that she had informed our supervisor also that we must proceed to Patfontein. You see that?
Yes.
So these you obtained on the 2nd of May of 2023, as reflected at page 18.
Yes.
Is it your case that the EMPD had the necessary information to start investigations, internal investigations, and they would have obtained the very statements that you 3 months later, obtained from Mr. Mackenzie and Ms. Stolls, who confirmed that they are the police officers involved? And then based on the facts of the case, EMPD would take a decision whether or not to institute disciplinary proceedings. Is that your case?
Yes, it's my case. And to add more there, we have a good relationship with the EMPD. When a case is open against any member of EMPD, they knock at our door to ask for more information, and we gladly give them those copies, even if it is in an initial stage. And when the case progresses, they need more information, they come to us. The person who usually communicate with us, who is sent, is Binel Musepe, who comes to the office most of the time. So our communication line is open to them at any given time.
Just so that we are clear, the complainant made a statement to EMPD.
Yes.
So how did this case end up with IPID?
Because it was now a case at Patfontein police station.
And then EMPD referred it to IPID?
The police, the Patfontein referred it to us now.
Oh, okay.
And who reported it to Patfontein subs? Is it EMPD or is it the complainant?
It will be EMPD because the SAPS in the first place refused to open the case for the complainant for the fact that they saw the truck being escorted by members of EMPD. So they didn't believe that the truck has been stolen because they said we saw the truck being escorted by Metro Police. So now EMPD is coming back with statement now to say, can you assist in opening the case? Now, because it's law enforcement, now the case has to be cast now.
Okay. Maybe then explain how it works, because what we've seen with the blue lights case
Yes.
is that EMPD laid a complaint with the SAPS. And as I've understood the evidence, then from the SAPS it came to IPID, this case. From the SAPS, they informed, IPID became involved. You did, and then an investigation was done into that matter, which resulted in a report and a negative recommendation to institute disciplinary proceedings. Why is this Patfontein case treated differently by IPID? Because a complaint, as you tell us, a complaint was laid with Patfontein SAPS by EMPD. Why does IPID not then do the same as you did with the blue lights, where you do your investigation and then you provide a report to EMPD on the basis of which they then institute disciplinary proceedings?
Let me clarify the blue light. The complainant, which was EMPD, came to IPID, and they didn't went to the police straight to complain. EMPD came to IPID to complain about the issue of blue light, and we informed them that we need statement. We cannot open a case without a statement. And then they provided such statement, and then the complainant himself, Commissioner Spies, filled in, assigned the statement and 3MA and 3MP, and then I took those documentation to the police station to open the case myself on behalf of him, because every document was there. So in the matter of Patfontein, the complainant himself was not assisted by the SAPS. He did go as usual, as a normal complainant, to go and open a case at a police station. But for reason known by the police that we saw the truck moving with EMPD, we do not think the truck was stolen. So we are refusing. So the complainant was not satisfied with that, because he wanted his issue to be registered. He went to EMPD. So EMPD took down his statement with their powers. They went back to the police station to clarify that this statement, this docket must be open, as previously not accepted by the police.
What I'm trying to understand is, at which point, so you because you say that EMPD had sufficient information, they could have instituted disciplinary proceedings.
Yeah.
I'm not quarreling with that. What I'm trying to understand is, does this mean, therefore, because the case was reported to EMPD and EMPD has the necessary information, does it mean IPID itself, when it becomes aware of this case, however you became aware of it, you don't do the investigation which ends up in recommendations to the city? That's what I'm trying to understand, how the process works.
Yeah, now I understand the question clearly. It will go the same way as blue light. After the completion of the investigation, we will do recommendation to EMPD, because the case cannot be finalized without the recommendation both to the department and the DPP. So it will go the same way. So currently the investigation is not yet finalized. That is why the report is not yet out.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Magagula.
Thank you, Commissioner Baloy. Mr. Magagula, that then takes us to paragraph 39 of your statement at page 10. Are you there?
Yes, I'm there.
Please deal with paragraph 39.
In addition, the property was released to an individual who claimed to be the lawful owner by means of the SAP S299 official register, which is not an authorized document for use by EMPD members.
Can I ask you to stop there and go back to your annexure bundle, page 13? And I am looking at the statement of Ms. Kishali Stalls, page 13, 1-3.
Yes, I'm there.
I see at the bottom of page 1-3, Ms. Stalls notes the following, and I quote, "The stolen load with Kinshasa case was returned to the owner on a SAP 299. I'll stop there. Do you see that?
Yes, sir.
And that is what you are referring to at your paragraph 39.
Yes.
Can you talk us through what an SAPS 299 is, this official register, and whether anyone investigating the whereabouts of the goods would have, I take it, would have regard to that document at the pound, and that would, whether that would inform them as to who booked the load in and who checked it out to hand over to the supposed owner. Can you, are you able to explain to us what one learns from SAPS 299 document?
SAPS 299 is a South African police register which of stolen return of suspected stolen property to the owner. It is used by SAPS. It is not used by EMPD. And to release property to a lawful owner also, the property cannot be released by any member. It must be an officer. So what does SAPS 299 tell us is that, for instance, something is stolen at Edgar's, shoplifted at Edgar's, and Edgar's needs that property immediately. Then a police officer, after Edgar's must satisfy the police officer that this is my property, producing proof that this belongs to me. And then SAPS will make a copy of the lawful owner from Edgar's ID and the receipt of that item, that, because when you say that belongs to me, here is the receipt of my property, and then SAPS will make all those documentation and attach, and you sign that register and they release that property. So here what I see, Keisha Listol was make copies of this documentation and keep it to herself in the car and release when they found something in the street or they want to take one property to another to legalize the property, and then they sign that SAPS register and give it to someone. Here in this matter, it's fine. There is a...
Are you assuming that this is so, or do you have facts to back up what you say? That is, that Officer Stores made copies and would then use those copies whenever she saw it necessary?
Yeah, there is in the docket, there is a copy of SAP 299,
All right.
which she signed.
We'll try and
Will
locate
take
it for
us-
you. Yes.
Oh, thank you.
As you explain, we'll try and locate that. Thank you.
Please continue with your explanation.
Even SAPS members, in terms of this SAP 299, in the patrol vans, they don't keep those forms to themselves as SAPS members. So in this matter of cashier stalls, it can be seen that they are keeping these copies for their own reason, which is not lawful. It's unlawful to have that form. Because even in the SAPS, when the officer releases it, it must still be noted in the occurrence book. It doesn't result in filling up the 299 and it ends up there. It must be in the occurrence book so that after 2 months or 1 year, a person comes and complains, we still have the register to say OB entry of that release of property is here.
To your knowledge, does the EMPD have an equivalent of the OB, the occurrence book?
Some of the units have, but it's not up to the standard of SAPS. The standard of SAPS, the occurrence book, when it finishes, they archive it. Another new book. So from previous year, if you want a certain month, they will just go to the year and month and pick up that book and look for that specific entry. So for EMPD, it's some of the units, they have it. It is not, I cannot call it officially because if I can go to them that I need an OB of your success or your duty on, duty off for year 2025, I might not get it.
Thank you, Mr. Magagula. I was quickly flipping through Annexure TLM1. My challenge is I don't know what an SAP 299 looks like. And for the moment, I cannot find a document that, but as I understand, this is the complete docket. During T, we will try and locate SAP 299. We were still at your paragraph 39 when I stopped you, line 3, where the second sentence starts now. Are you with me? Your statement, page 10.
Yes.
Paragraph 39.
Yes.
You had read the first sentence when I stopped you and I asked you to deal with SAP 299 official register, you remember?
Yes.
So we are now at your second sentence at line 3. If you can take it from there.
The investigation has not been finalized.
It's a, don't you said that there was also no specified?
No, there was also, yes.
There was also no specified location at which the alleged lawful owner received the consignment, in bracket goods. The investigation has not been finalized and accordingly, recommendation to the EMPD and referral of the matter to the DPP have not been compiled. Such recommendation and referrals remain pending the obtaining of statement from key witnesses identified above.
Would you say the investigation has stagnated at this stage? That's my sense when I go through what you narrate about this specific case. Would you say the investigation has stagnated, or would you say you still have leads? I don't want you to tell us what those leads are if you do have them. But it seems to me the investigation has stagnated. Some people have disappeared, people that you would have loved to take statements from, and one that is available and whose statement you would like to obtain is refusing to give you that statement. So it's on that basis that I'm asking you, would you say the investigation has stagnated?
I will agree with you, but I hope to persuade this witness, which I believe at a later stage you will comply. Currently, he is afraid. I don't want to lie. To communicate with him, I communicate with him. He says he's afraid of the police. The question will be, hey, Magagula, you know the police, they will kill me. Then I don't want to be in that position. So I'm trying to show him that there is witness protection, all those type of resources that the state have to, that they can provide him with to be safe. So currently it is stagnated, it is not moving.
Besides offering witness protection, are there any other means of obtaining a statement from a recalcitrant would-be witness?
I do have a plan which, if I can reveal it, everyone is listening, the police officers will be knowing how Magagula is going to handle this matter. And then
my focus, and by no means imputing impropriety on you, but my question was about lawful means. So are you saying you do have lawful means?
Yeah, it is a lawful, lawful one, 100%, where the witness will be comfortable and they won't be forced, it will be voluntary.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Magagula.
Thank you, Chair. Commissioner.
Mr. Magagula, my concern is this case is from February 2023 and it's now February 2026. I don't know, maybe I see it differently. The statements you have from the owner and the truck driver and the two statements from the Empd officers and the failure to use proper documents to release the property. And you say the manner in which it was impounded was also improper, how it was not recorded in the subs 13. Are those facts not sufficient to make recommendations of a disciplinary nature? Because I'm concerned that if you do manage to persuade this other witness to give you a statement, and it's now 2018, 5 years after the event happened, 26. It will be difficult to, prosecute people because memory fades, documents go missing, people pass on in the process, the police officers retire in the process. In fact, in the case of Stalls, we are told that at the end of January 2025, she retired from Empd. So do you not take those things into consideration, and do you not say, I know my investigation is not 100% complete, but I'm satisfied that with the 75% that I have, disciplinary proceedings can be instituted? Do you not look at it that way?
In terms of the let me start with the DPP. The best way, as things stand, we have a prima facie case where I can start with the Director of Public Prosecution, making an inroad in the Director of Public Prosecution to find which charges I can prefer, because these members here, if you look at them, they want to run away. The manner, their modus operandi, because the case was registered as theft of the truck. Now, the truck, when you look at the transaction, it is not stolen, because at the end of the day, they have returned the truck to Empd. So they wanted to kill that charge of a truck. They were very, very clever on that, but it's not cleverness. Now, they have a second problem. The truck was moving in good condition, and it was intended to go to Mpumalanga, Akonuk, which is about 500 kilometers from Patfontein. So it shows that the truck was in working condition. 3 days after the owner received the message that the truck is in Empd pound, there is another charge now, which is the theft out of motor vehicle. Some parts of the truck on its own, some part were stolen. The owner has to go and buy parts of the truck to put it in order for the truck to be able to be drivable again.
Even diesel, as I read this.
There is a part,
900 liters.
diesel also, but there are parts of the truck. There are parts of the truck that were stolen there. So it's theft out of motor vehicle, not theft of the truck, because that one they try to make a U-turn, because theft, it will be to deprive the lawful owner of his property permanently. So here they can come and say, we didn't want to deprive him permanently. We booked the truck in the pound. So in terms of that, I'll look at that area of that charge of theft out of motor vehicle. We have another challenge. I have another challenge in terms of the charges. Their aim, the intention of the officers was not about the truck. It was about the property that was inside the truck. The property worth more than 1 million rand. That property that was stolen there, it was not recovered. They allege that they gave the lawful owner somewhere. The importance of the witness which hired the truck owner to transport his goods. That statement is very, very important in that aspect.
I'll take you back to your answer, I think, to my last question. How soon do you intend to use the means that you referred to? You said you do have other lawful means to obtain the outstanding statement. By when will you do that?
In the next 4 weeks.
Why that long?
I will be revealing that strategy.
Oh, okay.
Mr. Magagula, this is a follow-up on Commissioner Khumalo, but slightly different. You have listed certain shortcomings. For example, the use of the SAP 299 document. You say they should not have. It's a wrong document to have used, but also it should not be in their possession because it's not an Empd document.
Yes.
That's one. Just keep note of this list. You've got that. And then there is the release of the goods according to stalls. The goods were released to an owner, but there's no record of who that person is. It just says the owner. You say that there was no case opened for impounding the truck and trailer. You also say there was no location, no specified location where the goods were released. And then I want to add to that list that there is no record, a record of the goods being released. We've got a statement saying the goods being impounded and then released, which I expect would happen if the police come into possession of any matter. They would record it properly. This is what they received, and then this is what they released and who they released it to. But that list of things that were not done and which you record in your statement seem to me not to, for them to be provable or to constitute charges for disciplinary purposes and to be proved as misconduct does not depend on a complainant's statement. It's a matter that you have on record, and employees could be charged on that without even having a complainant present.
Yes.
A complainant as in the owner of the truck and the owner of the goods. Having said that, it seems to me then that the IPID should be able, or should have been able, and should still be able to make a recommendation to the EMPD to discipline on just these issues. Why has that not happened? Why have you not drawn conclusions on these lines that there's been an infraction of this and that and that and that shortcomings on Stolz's own statement? Here are the shortcomings or matters that are disciplinable, and we make a negative recommendation that she and Mackenzie be disciplined. Why has that not happened? And why can that not happen?
This question, the SC has canvassed it. We spoke about it a lot of times. The standard operating procedure of IPID doesn't allow us to make a recommendation without the completion of the case. So when we make recommendation, is when the investigating officer says that everything is here in the docket, and you compile your report to DPP and the stakeholder, which will be EMPD or SAPS. So we do these reports when we finalize the matter, because the system, you must feed this recommendation to IPID system, electronic system, and it is signed by the provincial head that you have finalized the matter. So even when the auditors comes, they will say, in this matter, everything was done, and it was done on this date. So when you see our PDMs, after we have done our memorandum to DPP and SAPS, DPP might not be satisfied. The office was convinced that the matter is completed, but the DPP can say, no, Magagula, you have not yet finalized the matter. Go and do 1, 2, 3, 4. But already on our system, it will be finalized because we're convinced that everything was done. So I do not know if I answer your question. The predicament, even now when I live here, is because I can do the recommendation, but will my boss sign it because the standard operating procedure says that you must do recommendation when the matter is finalized?
I've not seen the prescript that you are referring to, but depending on the language, as presently advised, I feel that IPID is unduly constraining itself in this sense. If this is about the completion of investigations, I do not understand why you should tie EMPD investigations to investigations intended for the criminal process. If, on what you have done, you are of the view that enough is now in existence for purposes of pursuing a disciplinary process, why can't you say investigations are now complete insofar as the disciplinary process is concerned? And then you are able to fill in that electronic document, and you are able to convince your superior to sign off on that. Are you perhaps not unduly constraining yourselves? Are you perhaps not interpreting the prescript you are referring to wrongly?
Yeah, I agree with you, Commissioner, that as soon as we establish that there is a prima facie case, we should make
That is exactly my point.
Yeah.
Practically, you may easily establish that there is a prima facie case for purposes of the disciplinary process.
Yes.
Which means that with regard to that process, the investigation is complete. So why can't you close that off, seek your superior's signature, and fill in that form? And where it says, is the investigation complete? You say yes. Why can't you do that? Sitting here now, I don't understand why not, unless you explain it.
And maybe to add to that if it's quite conceivable that you may, I know you have just said to us that you have means of getting these witnesses, additional witnesses that have disappeared, but it's conceivable that you never ever find them. And the way you describe your standard operating procedure and your reasons for not having recommended yet disciplinary action to the EMPD, that could be the end of this case, because you never get those witnesses. And so you have officers where there's a prima facie case against them, which gets proven on a balance of probabilities, and in respect of whom your witness statements are irrelevant, right, for reasons that I've earlier discussed with you, but they actually walk scot-free because your standard operating procedure says until you've bedded everything together and you have a docket that goes to that's approved by the DPP, you may not recommend to the EMPD to institute disciplinary proceedings. Something is seriously wrong if that is what your standard operating procedure says or requires of you.
I agree.
But bear in mind that I say you may well be misreading that standard operating procedure. So do you want to comment on all this? I'm sure you still remember everything I said, and you remember what my co-commissioner, Commissioner Baloyi, has just said. Do you wish to comment on all that, please?
In terms of me maybe not understanding the standard operating procedure, I'll be saying it means that most of the caseworkers of IPs, if the point is that we are not understanding that standard operating procedure, including our boss who must sign the said recommendation, because it will be written, definitely so.
Yeah. You see, the simple point is this: what may have to be proved for purposes of the criminal case may not necessarily be the same as what needs to be proved in respect of the disciplinary process. So it just doesn't make sense that the two should be bound up together such that you cannot move on this one, even though everything that needs to be satisfied has been satisfied. It just doesn't make sense to bind them together like that. Do you get what I mean?
I get it.
Do you agree that you may possibly be misreading the standard operating procedure? I'm suggesting this to you not having read the procedure, but you accept that you may well, because otherwise,
I accept.
Otherwise, whoever framed it would have framed it very stupidly.
Yeah, I accept.
Thank you.
And do you accept, sorry, Ms.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you accept that if you have read it correctly, if what you're telling us is in fact what it is, then it's a major flaw in that standard operating procedures and it has to be reconsidered?
Yes.
So that it permits you to do what the chair is suggesting should be the way things are done.
Yes, I agree. And it will be fruitful.
Yeah, and we are not blaming you. We are not blaming, as we understand it, you are suggesting that this is how all of you operate, you know. Yeah. Ms. Silo, perhaps we should throw this one back at you for you to please follow up on the actual content and true reading
Yes.
of this procedure.
In fact, we've made a note. These are some of the documents when Mr. Kiafela Kai returns for the IPID stream. This would form part of his bundle.
Yes, yes.
To talk generally about IPID and the SOPs and any other regulatory instruments they have. However, although I'm hesitant to tell the commissioners this, we have tracked it down. It's an SOP dated 25th March 2019, but I won't put it to the witness. The witness hasn't been confronted with this document. It would be grossly unfair, but we will pick up the issue. And I suggest so, confident that it need not detain us regard being heard to the peculiarities of this particular case. Yes, it's still a live issue that must be answered in regard to the others. So if I may just deal with the witness, confining ourselves to this case, to address the very concern that the commissioners raise, that why could disciplinary processes not be initiated within EMPD regarding this Patfontein matter, and to determine whether failure to do so was caused by the delays on the part of IPID. The reading of the statement doesn't fully answer that question, but the reading of the docket, I think to a large extent does. So perhaps if I take the witness through those documents.
Yes, Ms. Silo.
Thank you. Before we do so, Chair, my very able attorney has assisted with SAP 299 or 229. I don't know whether it's experience in being arrested or in arresting or solving criminal cases, but that is to be found in TLM 1 at page 33. Mr. Magagula, if you go back to your annexures file, remember the annexure file we're working through looking at your docket in this Patfontein matter? Please go to page 33. Are you there?
Yeah.
I'm advised, and I see at the top right corner, unfortunately, the page number is imprinted over that it reads SAP as 299. Is that that SAP register we spoke about earlier?
Yes, it's the register that I spoke about.
Okay, the chair had asked us to locate it, so it is located. So I don't know if the chair would like to consider some questions on this SAP 299 that Ms. Kisha Stolz references in her statement to say the goods were returned to the lawful owner.
Not at this stage.
Not at
I'll
this
see
stage.
if I can.
Then just
apply
to
my
note it
mind
for the
to-
record.
Thank you.
Then, Mr. Magagula, in order then to deal with the issue that the commissioners engaged you on regarding delays in institution of disciplinary processes within EMPD, we need to run forward into your statement, and I would like you to turn to page 19 of your statement. At page 19, paragraph 85. You deal at paragraph 85 with ongoing, you say, communications with the institutions whose members we investigate. You see that?
Yeah.
On page 19, you see the last line of page 19 at
Yeah.
85?
Yes, I see.
Please read that last sentence starting with all these institutions and then continuing overleaf.
All these institutions do not require a directive from IP to initiate their own disciplinary investigation. Where the institution become aware of the relevant facts, they act on them through their own internal processes.
And then, bearing that in mind, please turn to page 42 of the annexure bundle. At page 42, I find a statement, again on the Ekurhuleni Metropolitan Police Integrity and Standards, form. This, if one goes forward to page 45, is signed on the 19th of February 2023. Now we must remember that the incident occurred on the 8th of February 2023. And it would appear that Empd was able to obtain a statement from Ms. Stolz, who's one of their members involved in this incident, on the 19th of February 2023. She relates the incident as she remembers it or knows it. And just to highlight a few aspects, at page 42, line 3, second sentence starts regarding this load. Allegedly, the load was meant to be in Congo, but had been stolen and was currently on a plot in Patfontein. If I go further, at page 43, for instance, about midway, or just slightly below midway of that page, there is a sentence, she's talking about the shop owner, and we know now it's Yusuf. She says, I know who the person was referring to. This is, I guess, the informant she's talking to, allegedly, and was aware that Yusuf had been arrested in 2022 for possession of stolen goods and possession of stolen trailers. Then at 43, then she goes into detail about this vehicle, this truck, and her own visit to the pound. Midway, page 44, she states, I went to Boksburg Pound and explained to the officer that the owner of the truck was a person by the name of Yusuf, and to please call me if Yusuf arrived so that I could arrest him. During the week, I was informed by the Empd Pound office that someone had come to the pound to collect the horse and trailers, but it was not Yusuf, but the officer refused them to collect. 3 lines down, I refused, and I have also been contacted by persons not known to me on behalf of Yusuf to release the horse and trailer for 20,000 bribe. I refused. Yusuf is wanted by a colonel from Crime Intelligence Jamiston for questioning regarding the theft of goods as well as truck hijacking. I'm to contact the colonel as soon as I have Yusuf in custody. And then it goes on at page 45, where she alleges that Yusuf wants to bribe her and has threatened her and her career. Now, this statement she makes on the 19th of February 2023, do you confirm that?
I confirm.
If you go further at page 46, it's a similar statement, again on an Empd Integrity and Standards letterhead. This is by Adrian Mackenzie.
Yes.
The other officer we know was involved. On this, in this document, at the page 46, Mr. Mackenzie notes, on 8th February 2003, at about 23 hours, I was contacted by Constable Stolz, who informed me that she had received information about a suspected stolen load that was in Patfontein, and that she had informed our supervisor and that we must proceed to Patfontein. When we arrived at the plot, we saw a horse and 2 trailers. Do you see where I'm reading?
Yes.
Incidentally, before I continue, do you know who their supervisor is?
Their supervisor, I know him as Julius Mkwanaze after their arrest in Benoni case.
Okay. Then if we go to page 48, then he gives his version of the incident. At page 48, importantly, the start of the page reads, we reached Boksburg where the owner of the load, who gave proof of ownership and relevant documents, took possession of his stock. And similarly, like with Ms. Stolz, no, not similarly, Ms. Stolz deposed to this on the 19th of February to EMPD, and Mr. Mackenzie on the 24th of February 2025. Now, in your view, considering that by that time EMPD was armed with the complainant statement made to EMPD, less than 2 weeks later, EMPD had obtained the statements of the implicated officers and also regard being held to the content of their respective statements. Was that not sufficient for EMPD to trigger its own internal processes and start an disciplinary investigation, as you say at paragraph 85 at the bottom, that all these institutions do not require a directive from IP to institute their own disciplinary investigations? Where the institution becomes aware of the relevant facts, they act on them through their own internal processes.
Yes, they have enough evidence to start their own disciplinary action. Even before I took over the investigation, they have all the facts. Because this person who obtained this statement works in that unit, which takes disciplinary action against members. Because it says, if you look at the top, integrity and standard. So this person is from that unit. So here they were supposed to have taken, they are aware even before IP knew about this matter.
And if I can take you then further to page 90 of the same file, we're still in TLM 1.
Page 9?
9090.
Okay.
And this document is on the EMPD and City of Ekurhuleni letterhead. It is directed to the head of Detective Services, South African Police Service. It states that it's from Owen Prinsloo, investigator. It's dated the 13th of February, 2023. And my understanding of this document is, I read, the Ekurhuleni Metropolitan Police Department hereby requests a copy of the following docket, gives its details, Police Station, Patfontein Subs. It continues, the COE Investigation Unit requests the information to assist in completing the internal investigation. EMPD reference number is as given. And then, thank you in advance. It's signed by Owen Prinsloo, COE. I take it that the City of Ekurhuleni Investigation Unit, EMPD. Do you see that?
Yes, I see that.
I read that to be conclusive proof that EMPD was fully aware of the facts and that, in fact, EMPD had initiated some form of investigation and had appointed an investigating officer for this purpose. Would that be your understanding as well?
Yes, I agree.
To your knowledge, do you know whether or not EMPD ever initiated or firstly concluded this investigation and or initiated any disciplinary proceedings against the implicated officers?
I will say I do not know currently what is happening. What I know is that Warrant Officer Kirsten recently asked copies for this docket again from me, from Integrity and Standard, and I provided here with the copies of this docket. So since from that time, this was in an initial stage of the investigation, and she recently asked me now. So I don't know at which time, and when I asked her through WhatsApp, what was the purpose for now? She said it was because of civil claim. So according to my experience with EMPD, now I'm talking my experience with EMPD, the cases that we have done. When we give them copies, they open their DR, they put them there, and we run with our investigation criminally until the member is found guilty. Those are the successes that they will have departmentally, not because of their investigation. Even if we have provided them with the copies, remember, criminally runs for a long time. There is a serial rapist in EMPD, which Nomsama Sugu was doing. That case ran for many years, and that serial rapist was found guilty, so he was given multiple life sentence. That member was still working for those years. The member was a white officer by the name of Cummings. He was raping minor children. It's on record, this one. But his dismissal was not because of their departmental. It was because of the criminal conviction. There was another case that I have done of a white male officer who was working at K9, also raping a child of his friend. He was also found guilty. Binel was, every time she was with me, giving her the copies, but today she will say I didn't give her. She was following me even in Alberton. That member was found guilty at Palm Ridge Court. It was the time that member was dismissed. Not by their internal processes. They will have our copies, but nothing will happen. They will park it there. So they are depending on the outcome of ID criminal investigation. So some of the copies that we give them, those copies when we give them, they use them to wage a war against each other. Because when we give them copies, it is allegation against a certain member. So those copies, when it is kept there, they know, oh, when you have a case of assault or whatsoever. If he does something, they will say, we will expose you, remember. So it is not for a good purpose. That unit, those people that were working there, they were working there for the longest time. So each and everything that is happening there, it is because of them. So when there are failures that must be pointed, they will be pointing, hey, Magagula and Empd, don't give us this. We can go as far as 2020 and looking at their departmental hearing, the members that were dismissed, and we look why they were dismissed. They were dismissed because of their departmental hearing or because of criminal conviction.
So the two examples that you give, the rape convictions, had Empd furnished Empd with negative reports?
Yes, those.
I would imagine that it had.
Yeah, this one.
Yeah. And who would those negative reports have been addressed to?
Mr. Henny Erasmus and Binel Mutsipe, they are the longest serving member in that unit. So also we can also verify through our...
And you would have chosen them because?
I have chosen...
that is, you would have sent to them because?
The investigation was finalized.
No, I'm asking, there's a hierarchy within the Empd. There's the chief, there are deputies, and all the way down. So I'm asking who you addressed the negative reports to, and you mentioned the two officers. So I'm asking, why did you choose those two officers when you otherwise have this hierarchy within the Empd?
A recommendation to Empd goes to that office. So the chief has mandated that office of Colonel Erasmus to deal with our recommendation.
So you always address to that office?
To that office.
Oh, all right, thank you.
And perhaps just to close that, if you look at page 20 of your statement, paragraph 88, you state that you have, and this is in a slightly different context, but just to understand who Mr. Erasmus is, you state that you also have ongoing engagements with Mr. Henny Erasmus from the Empd Integrity and Standards Unit regarding matters under investigation now. Following on the chairperson's question, who within the Integrity and Standards Unit what role does Mr. Henny Erasmus play?
He is the commander of the integrity and standard.
Is he the head of that unit? Do you know him to be such?
He is the head of that unit.
And as I saw from the documents that we were looking at and the statements given to the EMPD, like at page 64, it reads Ekurhuleni Metropolitan Police Integrity and Standards. So that would be his office taking these statements and the complaints.
Yes.
Thank you. Commissioners, I've eaten into your tea time.